Okay, so we are recording. Welcome everyone to Flourish and Flooring Podcast with Women of the Flooring Business. My name is Cameron Metheney. I am principal of Cameo Studio Designs, visionary entrepreneur, and recognized for the concept designer dopamine, where I merge all things lighting with tile. We're a community of women in the tile, stone, and flooring who are passionate about professional growth. This podcast is proudly presented because, we got to get through all the sponsorship. But this podcast is proudly presented for women of the flooring business and sponsored by my company, Cameo Studio Designs, which is known for commercial and luxury tile installations. Among all, we integrate all things lighting into tile. And if you are interested in a CEU, Cameo Studios offers designer dopamine CEU to entice dopamine in lighting spaces. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor, also, you can reach out to podcast at Women of the Flooring Business. And we have many different tiers and levels for people that are interested or companies that are interested in showcasing their company through sponsorship of Women of the Flooring Business. You can also seek out Women of the Flooring Business or become a member at www.womenflooring.com. Today, I am so excited. Well, first, I just got back from coverings, but I am even more excited. Today, Allison Eden from New York, if you all don't know her, which most of you I'm sure who do, she is a New York fashion designer, mosaic artist, and one of my close friends. And I am so excited to have Allison join me today on the podcast. Hi, Allison.
Hi, Cameron. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. So in honor of having you today, I'm wearing your heart-shaped Love Me, Kiss Me necklace that you sent me for Valentine's Day that's made out of glass. So I love this so much.
Thank you. Thank you for wearing it.
Are you in your studio today?
Yes, I'm in my studio. Well, I'm always in my studio. Yes, behind me, I changed my location. I thought you didn't need to see my ugly desk. This is my studio in the background. I don't know if you can see it, but it's really, I don't know. It's hard to see, but I'm upstairs on the second floor. And I don't know if you could see everything, but oops, it's hard to see. But this is where we make everything.
I see Hello Beautiful, which if that doesn't emulate you, I don't know what does.
Oh, thank you. Well, we do creative manufacturing in Brooklyn, all by hand. We've been doing this for over 30 years, and I'm very proud of what we do. I never started out in the flooring business, and I am I love it. And I've become a tile girl, and it's the best. It's really the best.
Yeah. So Allison, those people that don't know you, I know you well. I've heard your story. I love your story of the Burger King story. Will you tell listeners, those that don't know you, about that story and kind of how that emulated you into tile?
Yes. Okay. So I was living in the dorm at Fashion Institute of Technology, and I was about to graduate. And, my parents were like, "What are you going to do with your life?" And I didn't know. I had been in college for many, many years at this point. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to take out some ads in Yellow Pages. I didn't know what I was, when you graduate, for me, it was very hard to figure out what I wanted to do. I was actually working at Nautica, but I needed a clearer picture. And I loved mosaics. And so I took these ads out in the Yellow Pages, and I started at A. And I said, I was like, I went from being an architect to an interior designer to a contractor to whatever had few ads. I decided to take out a really big ad. So one of them was a contractor. And so somebody called me and said, "Listen, I found your name in the Yellow Pages. I'm doing the Brazilian wave in a Burger King on 47th Street. We need to, we need the whole floor done in 3 weeks, and we can't find anybody in the tri-state area that does that, that does that work and is fast." And I was like, "Well, you've come to the right place. I do this. This is my specialty." No clue. So I
Oh
went
my,
to meet the guy, and I actually went to Staples and I bought a invoice book before I got there because I wanted to look really professional. So I told me what he wanted. So I ran. I actually rented a car. Oh, first I did my invoice, my 001 that I hand did in front of him, and then I rented a car. I went to Home Depot, and I bought a video on how to tile a floor, and I got the job. And I I worked at night because I had to only work at night, and
yeah.
I was hiring people off the street
Oh my gosh.
to basically follow the directions of laying a commercial floor in New York City. Okay, things were different in the early 90s. Things are really different than they are today, because now I think there are, there are
And
uh, regulations and whatever.
yeah,
But back then, I think it was a little bit more loosey goosey, and you needed the floor done. And so, I mean, in the middle of the night, I was grabbing homeless people, like, "Hey, can you, carry these bags for me?" And I was like, basically became a general contractor for my floor at Burger King, and it worked out so well that I ended up getting burgers for free there. It was like my place. Burger King on 47th Street was like, it was my home at the end. They were so happy, and it turned out perfect that I realized if you want to do something so badly, you're going to do it well. And if you, and the funny thing about it is, I thought the video was so boring, I barely watched it.
oh
So,
my gosh, I love this.
yeah, yeah.
That actually gives me a really great segue into one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about because I've lived in urban areas of downtown Chicago, downtown St. Louis. I've been to New York several times. And the one thing that I can say about you and just that story alone and being a New Yorker, but maybe you can emphasize more on this. What is it that gives you your grit to remain in business in New York City?
Well, I love it here. I mean, that saying, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, is so true. I mean, people come here from every part of the world. They come here with a dream, and a hardworking dream. And you don't live in New York City if you're not a hard worker. I mean, you live in subhuman conditions most of your life, but you have this love for people. It's a melting pot. It's a melting pot of every culture. I wish the whole world would realize that, like, we can all live together and so beautifully, and be friends with everybody.
Mhm.
um and this is what New York City is. It's a melting pot of hard workers that come here to be the titans of their industry, because there is no, place that's really harder to break through. I mean, New York City spits people out like crazy, but if you're here and you don't give up, I do believe it's if you don't give up. And I, you know, I, I've been rejected a zillion and one times, probably more so than I've been accepted, but I never gave up. And I never took no for an answer. No was my starting point with everything. I would walk into, an for a project, no, we're not looking for, for what you're doing. Well, let me explain what you do need. And so I've really learned to never take no for an answer, and also never give up.
Yeah. I love that you just shared all of that. I know that you inspire and so many people in the commercial space of tile, just being at coverings. So many people, Allison, when they would see you, and I don't even think that you realize this, and this is, I believe, where that grit has come from. They would be like, "Oh my gosh, Allison Eden just said hello to me," and just
Oh,
you talk about a titan. Like we were just at coverings. You are a true titan and leader for the industry. And I think just coverings that show alone. I know that firsthand because I've heard people say that about you. I've watched you in a room, and I mean, truly, you are paving the way for women to really be a titan in this industry. And I love it that you're from New York because you're able to do that and not say no and keep pushing. So thank you. and I give you accolades for leading the way for women in this industry, but also women that are in art. It's not so corporate-y, it's edgy, it's fun. You really bring that. So thank you.
Well, thank you. That's I'm so honored that you said that. Well, we do creative manufacturing. That's really what I call my creative tile manufacturing. I've made my own name for what we do, because I don't think we
Yeah.
just make tile. We don't just do manufacturing. We do creative manufacturing.
And how did you find that sweet spot of what you do in the industry for anyone who's like seeking to think outside of the box?
You know what? I just followed what I loved. Um, I just really, I, I kind of beat to my own drum, and I just did what I felt I loved to do, and I felt and things that maybe I thought people would would like, and I filled. It was filling my heart, so I felt like it filled other people's hearts, and it was something that was not really being done so much, and a necessity. I mean, how much fun to really custom design some crazy wild thing you have in your mind, and tile is the most. I'm obsessed with tile. It can go anywhere. And to me, like every wall, every floor is a canvas, and it's an
Yeah.
art canvas. So why not make it fabulous? I mean, why do you want to do a plain white brick tile when you have this gorgeous wall and you can do something so stunning and different and be unique? And, I think we realize life is so short. So live fabulously. Why not?
Absolutely. And I really think that, your work alone speaks volumes at that. I've seen your portfolio, I've seen a lot of your lines, I've seen you at coverings for years. We've navigated through Las Vegas and I've seen some of the things that you've done there. Um, Out of your entire portfolio, and really like, what are the top two jobs that really speak to you
Oh,
as an artist that you are so proud of?
oh my, well, I'm proud of every single project. So it's almost like having babies. Like, you can't have a favorite baby. I mean, I have like epic projects that, are crazy. I think almost all of them have some funny tone to them. Um, well, I did go to Alaska. I mean, I've been flown around to crazy fun places to do fun things. But okay, well, I will give you a little story, one that I will never forget. So I did uh, a hospital, the Samuel Simmons Memorial Hospital in Barrow, Alaska. It was a huge government job, and it was at the time one of my largest jobs. I did the entire lobby, every treatment room, every seating area. I mean, this was like, it took me 2 years to do. And after I shipped all the products, I found out that the general contractor had been mauled by a bear. And they said, we really need you to come here to make sure that the installers are doing a good job, and figure out where everything's going. Could you come out? And I was like, oh yes, oh my god. I had never been to Alaska. So it's like, but we're at the top of the world. Like, we're in the glaciers. It's not your regular place to come. So I was like, no problem. They sent me 5 flights, and then I had to take a cargo plane the last part of my trip to get to the top of the world in the glaciers, where this monster hospital, probably the most gorgeous hospital I've ever seen in my whole life. And the mayor met me there. I mean, this was like totally primitive. I mean, they're the people that live there. They're Inupiat in the Inupiat Indians, and I got to learn about a whole culture, and it was so interesting to me to see the way that they live in 70 degree below zero and dark for 6 months out of the year. And they said the reason why they hired me is because the Barrow, Alaska had the highest suicide rate in the whole country. And they wanted the hospitals to be beautiful and fun and have movement and color and bring people's energy levels and happiness out. And I thought that was the most beautiful thing ever, that they asked me to help because people were suicidal. And I've always thought that people live so much better in color than they do
Yeah.
in beige and gray walls. I mean, when you
Right.
live in color, it gives off a whole sense of energy and happiness that you don't even realize. But living in color is a beautiful thing.
It absolutely is, and I love that you said that. And I think that that's one of the things well, first off, that story just goes to show not only are you an artist, a kind, loving person, you're a humanitarian to be able to take a community like that and bring color and life into their space. I'm sure it changed every person that walked past there, gave them that sense of dopamine. And that's what I love about you too. And one of the reasons why I think I've always been so drawn to you is because, I'm a dopamine junkie. So I view art as dopamine. I view color and talk about color as dopamine. Lighting is dopamine. So I can absolutely connect with what it is that you're saying. And I just think that that's a really cool story. Thank you so much for
Yeah. Well,
sharing.
and from there, I did their community centers. I did the one hotel that was there, their schools. I just kept, if you go to Barrow, Alaska, you'll see us all over.
Like Allison Eden. Um,
Yes.
so with that being said, such a great story. Thank you so much. I want to shift gears just a little bit. And can you share with the listeners and those of you who are just joining or watching us today? I'm with Allison Eden, profound artist, mosaic artist, fashion designer, all the things in New York. But Allison, if you could tell us a story or just pinpoint who is it that, or what is it that really inspires you?
Oh gosh, I think inspiration comes from everywhere. I think that I mean I've gotten amazing inspiration just from being in my city, like, and all the beautiful architecture and the gardens and we living in a concrete jungle. I do a lot of florals and really bright corals, and I get that from going to the Bronx Botanical Gardens and walking through Central Park. And as crazy as it is, this place is, if you look around, you see the most beautiful things you could ever imagine. I mean, every building is just so stunning, unless it was built in the early 70s, then it, you know, but I think
Architecture
that
then.
I know, but we have the most beautiful architecture in the city, the most
Yeah.
beautiful gardens, the most beautiful restaurants and hotels, and it's really, I think I get inspiration from just being here.
Yeah.
And I'm not so much of a traveler because Gary does not love, he likes to stay in New York City um and that's it. So
We
we've
love
really,
Gary.
oh, he is the best. He's
He is a
wonderful.
real. Well, speaking of environment, there's a place that you inspired me that I have to ask. This environment is Miami Design Week. I know that you were there last year, and I could not make it, and I am dying to go for Miami Design Week because you look like a queen at all of those parties.
Oh,
And I mean, for me, a place like that would just inspire me. So when you go, I have to go next time, please. It looks so
yeah.
cool.
It's so much fun. It's really grown. It's grown so much that it's, you can't get a restaurant, like a reservation in restaurants, and the hotels are crazy, but it's such great energy, and it's such a fun week to see all your friends. It's more like a family reunion because I
Yeah,
see the same artists that really come together that might have left the city and moved to other places, and everybody comes together during Miami Art Week and Design Week, and it's a lot of it. I love it. And we had two solo shows um, at Art Basel this last year. This was like my biggest year, so they weren't always like this, but this year was really good.
it looked incredible. For those of you who don't know about Miami Design Week or Art Week, Allison, can you give us just a quick little summary of what that's like for you as an artist?
Well, for Art Basel is where, every artist, every gallery comes together in different, in different tents in the convention center, and you show your work, and buyers come. It's almost it's a trade show for art, but it's more than that, because it's more, to me, it's networking. It's like going to coverings. It's going
Yeah.
to coverings for the tile world. Um, I've been doing Art Basel for just as long as I've been doing coverings. And both of those, I mean, as cool as Art Basel is, coverings is just as cool too, because it's really more about the people and the connections that you've made, and the networking and the parties, and it to me, both of those are I have to go. I won't miss them, because I
Yeah.
just know it's like fun for sure.
That's amazing. Well, you definitely made it look fun this
Yeah.
last year that you were there. So it was incredible. The outfits alone were just phenomenal.
Thank you.
I know that for our listeners that, again, don't follow you yet, what are all of your socials that people can follow you?
So my excuse me, my website is AllisonEden.com. It's okay. Yeah, that's my website,
Okay.
AllisonEden.com. And then my Instagram is just Allison Eden Studios, Studios. Um, or maybe I think you could just Google Allison Eden Studios, and I think it comes up, or Allison Eden. But I do my own Instagram. Oh yeah, that's it. That's my Instagram. And I'm on LinkedIn as Allison Eden. Facebook is Allison Eden Studios. Uh,
Okay,
you can
perfect.
find me.
Yeah, I know. Just Google Allison Eden and she's gonna come up, you guys.
I'm
Um,
around.
yeah, no, that's amazing. So my last question that I have for you, and maybe you can also talk to our listeners about this a little bit, is I know we just left covering. I know this year I think was one of your first years that you weren't a vendor, but more importantly, what are the lines that you've recently just released through the Allison Eden Studios?
Okay, so I released a stone, excuse me, a stone flooring. 1 minute.
Yes, take your
So,
time.
sorry. I released this stone flooring collection, and it's so beautiful. We took 5 patterns and made them in 8 different colorways. And then I also have 14 ready to ship collections boards, and then my custom. So, and then I did a license with Acto, which we did a Botanicus collection, all florals and corals, and they're all
You-
beautiful. I have a vinyl flooring collection now with graphic image flooring. That's so much fun. And I'm just kind of trying to dabble in lots of different things. And it's really more about the artwork and how you can put it on different types of materials. So I have something really wonderful in the works right now that I'm just doing myself. And it's really exciting for me to. I love when I'm inspired to create a collection, and that's just when I feel like it's going to take off. So,
Absolutely. Well, I was so excited to see you at coverings and go to your talks and go to your parties and just connect with you again. And I know that all of the women that are in the industry that were also at coverings this year. I mean, I'm just going to continue to give accolades where they're deserved, but keep doing what you're doing. People love you. We love your work. You're so talented. People love Gary. Don't forget Gary.
he's so
Um,
sweet, so wonderful. Well, he
yeah,
basically runs the whole craziness here. So, I mean, he's a character, and as himself, he is really there would be no business without Gary. He does, he's let me be me, and believed in me and supported me. So a good support system, I think, is very important in any business.
absolutely.
So I thank him very much.
Yeah, well, I please tell them that I said hello, and I'm so glad that you guys made it back safely from coverings. And what is your next big event that you're planning for?
Well, I'm going to my showroom decorative materials in Aspen, Vail, and Denver for spring design week in Denver. So that might be a really wonderful thing for you to go, because it's the design center opens up for spring, and there's so much going on, and it's not just tile, it's all the showrooms. And so, and I have been in the past, and it gets so busy. A lot of people have moved to Colorado since, 2020.
Right.
And I think this spring week will be fabulous. So if you are in Denver, Aspen, or Vail, May 15th through the 17th, please come see us at Decorative Materials.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Well,
Yeah,
everyone,
maybe you need to come.
yes. I will look at my schedule and see if I am available for that. So, well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today and supporting women of the flooring business. And anyone who wants to reach out to Allison, I've added her Instagram at the bottom here at Allison Eden Studios. And then for anyone who is also interested in sponsoring this podcast, so that we can continue interviewing and seeking out some of the most amazing people in the industry, like Allison, please check into podcast at Women of the Flooring Business or womenflooring.com for more information for that. So, Allison, thank you so much for hanging out with me
Thank
today.
you.
And I look forward to chatting with you more.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're
Mwah.
welcome.